Okay, so you probably know that dying intestate meaning you don't have a will, you don't have any sort of plan in place is probably a bad idea, right? Most people I think know that. Most people, whenever I tell them I'm an estate planning attorney, they always tell me, "Oh man, I've been meaning to do my will, update my trust, whatever it is." But I put together, this video just saying, 5 reasons why you really don't want to have an intestate estate, meaning that you leave behind an estate without any sort of plan in place. Number one, if you don't have any sort of plan in place, the state, where probate's going to happen, the state's going to choose the plan for you, right? Whether or not you have a plan or not, they're going to decide. So every single state has intestacy laws basically saying who gets what of your stuff. So, if you weren't really close with your siblings and maybe they're your next of kin, they might be getting everything you had because that's the laws of what your state says. So number one, if you don't have any plan in place, the state is going to decide for you. Number two, your estate's going to lose money, right? It's going to lose assets. Typically, this is going to be in the form of attorney's fees, because most likely there's going to have to be a probate attorney involved. There's probably going to, well, if you're doing probate, there's going to be court costs involved. There's going to be executor or personal representative fees that are going to be involved. So you're right there. You're coming off the top is going to be tens of thousands of dollars potentially just in fees, attorney's fees, court costs, PR fees, right? Then, depending on the size of the estate and issues at hand, there might be realtor fees if property has to get sold. There might be appraisal fees on property, on jewelry, on assets, different things like that. If assets have to get sold, there might be estate sales costs. So again, just by having no plan in place, you're gonna be leaving much less to your heirs or to whoever those people getting your stuff. Number three, it leaves it more likely that there's going to be a dispute, right? If you have a written plan in place, it's typically pretty clear who gets what of your stuff, who's going to control things. Without any plan, it leaves a lot up in the air, and often those are the estates where we see a lot of people fighting over stuff. This is where we see a lot of people, siblings or kids or people just coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh yeah, that was my dad, but we didn't have a relationship. He never claimed me. I'm not on the birth certificate." You just get all types of crazy stuff. And so a lot more opportunity for there to be fighting. Number four, the court is going to choose the person who's going to be in charge of administering your estate. So this, in Florida, we call this a personal representative, also called an executor or an administrator. But that's the person who's in charge of making all of these distributions happen, finding all of the assets, selling things, dealing with creditors. It's a big responsibility. And if you don't have that written down, the court is going to decide somebody to do that for you. And again, might not be the person of your choosing. And if it's not the person of your choosing and it's a professional representative, they might be charging a fair amount of money, which otherwise might not have happened. And number five, it takes a lot more time for your loved ones to get their things. In most states, probate is a pretty complicated, slow process that takes months, if not years, to resolve. So you might be leaving that house to a loved one, but they might not even get it for 6 months, 7 months, or more. So without any sort of written plan, it's going to take your loved ones a lot more time to get their stuff. So there you go, 5 reasons why you definitely want to have some sort of written plan in place and not leave your estate by dying intestate without any sort of will or trust or estate planning done.